welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen, and I am here with day 29 of 30 Days of Sketches of Kirsty's Beautiful Life, Series 19. I cannot believe it's almost the end of the month. And today's sketch is by the lovely Shannon Keith, which is Creative Chaos in Tennessee. And I am going to document some pictures of my grandson's birthday party back in September. Earlier on the 11th, I did the end results. This is the beginning. I'm going to use the same collection, Reason to Smile by Shamel. And here is the layout I did on the 11th, I believe. And so this is going to be next to this layout that I'm going to create. So I'm going to try and bring in some of the same features, especially since I'm using the same collection. So I have my papers and some scraps. I have my embellishments. I have some mixed media. I'm going to bring in my pictures in the sketch. So let's see how this goes. So on the previous layout, I used some Delusion Shimmer Spray by Diane Reevely in London Blue. Yep, London Blue. And I am going to use that again. I matted my pictures on the other layout with wood grain. So I'm using wood grain as my background. So it's not like a large 12 by 24 layout. They are not going to be, cohesive as in flow next to each other. But there are things that are going to be brought over from one to the other. So I'm using the same stitching, I'm using the same thread, the same mixed media, and some, obviously, same collections. So there will be some very similar things you see. So I have matted my 3.5 by 3.5 pictures on 4-inch squares. I wanted a thick border. It called for that on the sketch. I love the sketch. They kind of look like Polaroids, but not exactly. But I really did love the thick border, so I wanted to keep that. So I had scraps left in this collection, so I wanted to use those because that's my goal right now, is to use at least one scrap on every layout. I also wanted to bring in some stitching. Now listen, I don't stitch. When I stitched on the 11th, I told Tara and she thought I was sick because I don't typically do stitching. However, one of my least favorite parts is threading the needle, and I put a really long piece of blue thread on my needle, and there was so much left over. I thought, you know what, I'm going to do some more on another layout that goes with this. So I just set it aside and went ahead and did this. So I did both of these layouts from the 11th of October and the 29th of October on like September, like the 20 something. So like today's the 25th of September. So, it's fine. But I forgot to splatter first, so after I got my pictures down, I covered them up and did some splatters. She does have splatters on her sketch, and then like a bunch of leafy fall colored bits. And then the other thing is, on her sketch, as you could see up in the corner, she has a banner that goes across. Well, I thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to use that and I will stitch the banner. But I don't want a banner necessarily. I decided I was going to use my enamel dots and put them in the middle of the little holes. I thought I might connect everything together, like go back through and have it be a solid stripe or solid line. But I decided not to because the open dotted line of stitching is what I have on the other layout. So I decided to keep that. So my goal for the enamel dots is not to fill in the entire space. I just wanted a little something so it would kind of represent the banner that she's got going across. And I actually really do love the way that it turns out. I don't necessarily have a pattern to the enamel dots. I just kind of wanted the bigger gaps to have the bigger enamel dots, and I don't want the same color side by side. So, and that is what I did. And then I am going to go in and start adding the embellishments. So it calls for a big title. So I use this Good, Better, Best because he is looking at the cake in the first picture, and then there's like an up close picture and you can just see the cake kind of off to the side, and he's just really looking at that cake like making a plan. And I use a little sticker on here that says making plans. I really feel like he's like, are you gonna bring that over here to me? Like is that, you can give that to me? But also he's staring at that fire. And then in the third picture, as soon as I brought that cake onto his tray, he put his finger right in the icing, and that was the end of that. So the layout, I will end up showing you the layout for the 11th again, but that layout has pretty much the final result of his face and hands that were coated in cake and icing. And you can see part of the end result of the cake. Now, there is going to be somewhere before today, you're going to see a 2-page layout from the cake, like the mid part. And then there's probably going to be like a before and after. I don't know. I took a few pictures of the cake experience, but really I was in charge of keeping the cake where it belongs. So you can see in that third picture that there's a little finger on that cake tray, and that would be my finger. I'm keeping the cake from falling on the floor. My son face planted in his first birthday cake, and the second time he did it, when he came back up, it kind of fell, not completely to the floor, but it was definitely not opportune because he is a St. Patrick's Day baby, so his cake was green. This cake was originally going to be white, all white, like a moon with some like craters and stuff, but the cake artist had an idea, and I said, you know what, you're the genius, so you go ahead. And it was a beautiful cake. He did look like he had no oxygen to his face for a little while because his lips were blue, but and his fingers were a little blue, but he had such a good time, and he really enjoyed the little fondant stars that were on there. And that was the first thing he really started doing, was taking the stars off. So anyway, I'm filling in spaces where she's got clusters, like there's the little mushrooms on top of the fourth picture. So I put a floral. I wanted to make sure to bring that dark blue in because that's the color of the thread. That's the color I'm using for the splatters. Plus that's the color on his cake. And I did use some dark blue on the other layout as well. And then there's a matching acetate floral, so I went ahead and used that. And then the little floral that's with that, it's okay, because it's almost like AJ was looking at the cake like, first of all, looking at the fire, and also, normally you don't let them just dive into food like that. So, and then I used that little just start on the that third picture, and I thought that was super fitting. So anyway, I put the little journaling space right next to the picture, and then I tuck a little piece of cake in there, so those all match up with the layout next to it as well. Here is the close-up. I hope you'll go check out everybody who's hopping along with 30 Days of Sketches, and especially the lovely Shannon Keith. Like I said, Creative Chaos in Tennessee, and the Tennessee is abbreviated to the TN. She is lovely, and I love watching her create, so I hope you'll go check her out. I would love it if you'd give me a thumbs up if you like my video and or my layout. I'm going to bring in the other layout I did on the 11th, just so you can see how they kind of coordinate together. And that's all. I hope y'all have a great day. I hope you get a chance today to do something you love with someone you love, and happy scrapping.